The ayes are 68, the noes are 55. The question is agreed.
Equal Pay Amendment Bill, first reading.
This bill is set down for second reading immediately. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Honourable Jan Tinetti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm having to have some calm down time because I'm still incredibly angry about what we are doing in this House today. Madam Speaker, this is a bad lawmaking process. Nothing is worse than taking away people's democratic rights to have their say on a bill that is going to take away their ability to be able to get their pay equity claims through, as they were able to do under the Amendment Act that came through in 2020. Madam Speaker, at that time, we had a number of groups around the country that had their say around what they thought that law should look like, and that was followed through. And now we're taking that away and we're creating a much more difficult process, and we're going to see, we know, less pay equity claims coming through. And if people on the other side of the House don't think that is reality, go back and have a look at just how many pay equity claims were successful before the amendment bill was passed in 2020. Go back and have a look, because the reality is that we had a process that wasn't working. It absolutely wasn't working. And what we're doing is we're going back to the future today. We are taking this country backwards. We are taking women's rights backwards. No, not we, you are taking women's rights backwards. Not you, Madam Speaker. I should point to them over there. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would hate to put that on you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I've said, this is bad lawmaking. It is unfair to thousands of women nationwide. Normally what we would be doing at this point in a second reading speech, Madam Speaker, is that we would be going through and prosecuting what happened at the Select Committee process. But where is that? There is no process to go through, because we are here in urgency passing through something that, as David Seymour has said today in the media, Minister Van Velden has saved the budget for the government. Shameful. Taking credit. Even though the Prime Minister today said, well, it's not about the budget, the soon-to-be Deputy Prime Minister is saying that the Minister has saved the budget for the government. So who is right? Well, we on this side of the House know that this is all about making that budget work and that budget square up. And as I said, Madam Speaker, in my first reading speech, and so did many others, once again, women are having to pay the price. Women are having to pay the price in this country for bad fiscal management. And enough is enough. We saw that today out the front of this Parliament. We saw people say enough is enough. We have been waiting far too long for women to get what they are due, for women to be valued in their roles, for work that has been traditionally seen as women's work to be valued. And only when we do value that work, Madam Speaker, at that point will we see that it won't solely be women's work, that we will see more other people, other genders, men going into that work as well. When we have people that are standing up outside and saying that they feel like their legs were cut off today, feeling like that their breath was knocked out of them because they had no idea that all the work that they had put into working through their pay equity claims would be all for nothing. And not only that, Madam Speaker, standing outside today and saying we're not even having the opportunity to speak about it, to come and put our case forward. So, Madam Speaker, that is what we are here on this side of the House to do, is to put their cases for them today, so that they know that we are hearing them and valuing their work and valuing the work that they have done to ensure that their work is valued overall by society. And one of the most important ways that we can do that, Madam Speaker, is by paying them appropriately. Madam Speaker, one of the aspects that was always very frustrating with me in the pay equity space when this government came into power was that they got rid of the Pay Equity Taskforce. Now, the reason that they got rid of the Pay Equity Taskforce, in their own words, was that they said the pay equity claim process was working really well, and so that there was no reason to keep the Pay Equity Taskforce. At the time, I was very sceptical of that fact. I thought that perhaps it was more about saving the cost of what the Pay Equity Taskforce cost to run. But now we see what the real reality is. It is all about cost saving. Because if their words were true back when they first came into power and got rid of that Pay Equity Taskforce, why now is the pay equity claim process apparently not working? You can't have it, or they can't have it, Madam Speaker, both ways. It's either was working really, really well, which I know to be true because we had a large number of successful claims with the help of the Pay Equity Taskforce, or it's not. But then I go back to say, Madam Speaker, that the real reason is about saving money. And the real reason is about making a budget work that has been, again, is seeing women paying the price for bad fiscal management. Women are paying the price in this country for tax cuts and tax breaks for landlords. That is the absolute bottom line of what is happening here. And I go back to saying, Madam Speaker, that all those women who would have come in, all those, it's not just women, it would have been men too, all those people who would have come into a select committee process to submit on this particular bill would have said that leave that alone because we are getting claims through. We are getting the work done and we are seeing the work being valued. Madam Speaker, it appalls me, and I listened to the first reading speeches from the other side of the House. It absolutely appalls me the reasons that the weak reasons that they have given for passing this through. It is smoke and mirrors when you say that it is about putting a better framework in place. Improve the framework. If that's the case, don't get rid of it. Don't get rid of it so that there's nothing there at all. Start from that base and add to it. If that member over there is saying we're not getting rid of it, go and read the bill, because that's exactly what the bill says. And it also says in that bill that that side of the House is stopping all current claims. That's 33 claims that are being stopped with this introduction of this bill here today. Some of those claims have been in process for 4 to 5 years. How do those people and how do those sectors suddenly feel that their work is being valued? I can tell you right now that they are feeling really angry. So if that side of the House thinks that this is going to quietly go away, I really feel that they need to think again and hang your heads in shame or stand up and do something about it. You still have, that side of the House still has time to put this right. Just because that side cannot make their budget work, women should not have to pay the price for that. They have been paying the price in history for far too long. And this should end now. Again, I go back to my first reading speech, Madam Speaker, and I shall end with this. But, Madam Speaker, this should not be something that becomes political. Women should not be used as a pawn to actually then work their budgets out for them. We should be working this through together. And do you know what, Madam Speaker? In 2020 we did. We came together for women in this House. What a shame, Mr Bates, that you can't now support women and that you would rather put politics first than supporting women get a fairer wage, a fairer pay for their work. Madam Speaker, I absolutely condemn this bill.
Honourable Julianne Genter.
Tēnā koe, Madam Speaker. This is really about what we value as a society. And it's very clear that the coalition government does not value the people doing some of the most important and difficult work in our entire society. And look, to be fair, it's been centuries of this, and so it's really just perpetuating the status quo. But there is a reason why we needed to put in place the process we did in 2020 as part of the Equal Pay Act in order to close the gender pay gap, which was not closing. Gender pay gap can be because of individual discrimination or, unconscious bias in individual workplaces. But the wide sector-based discrimination that has meant that the work that was predominantly done by women was undervalued is based in evidence. And that's why the process that was put in place in 2020 was evidence-based and supported by Nicola Willis of the National Party and Erica Stanford. Nicola Willis said, she's proud to stand in the House tonight and say National will support the final reading of the Equal Pay Amendment Bill. Proud of the contribution. And that they do think that if there are reasonable grounds to believe that work has been historically undervalued based on their gender and that they have been underpaid because of that, they should be able to make a pay equity claim. And that is the fundamental fairness-based principle under which we had cross-party agreement on the bill. Now, if the government really believed that there were just some technical improvement processes and a slightly better framework that would result in something that was more fair and reasonable, why are they doing this under urgency? Why not send it to select committee? Why a rushed process where the bill is literally introduced today and going through all stages of the House? It's because this isn't about fairness. It's not about making the process better. It's about saving money in the short term, which will cost us more in the long term. And that, I guess that is a hallmark of this coalition government, is seeming to save money by doing things that will actually increase the costs to everyone in society over the long term. And that's the fundamental problem. But what do we value? Do we value the work of early childhood education teachers? Do we value the work of midwives and nurses? Do we value the work of teachers? Do we value the work of aged care and support workers, those looking after people with disabilities, those looking after our elderly in their final stages of life? Do we not value that? How can we as a society say that those people do not deserve to be paid properly for their work? And isn't it shocking? Isn't it a surprise that we have a hard time recruiting teachers, that we have a shortage of early childhood teachers, that we have a shortage of nurses and midwives, and they can go to Australia and get paid so much more? That's because of decisions made by subsequent governments, but particularly this coalition government, which is looking at those people doing this important, caring work that supports everyone in our society to thrive, viewing them as a fiscal liability rather than an investment in our society. An investment in early childhood education and midwives and nurses is an investment in a future, more equitable society, one where people actually have what they need to survive and thrive, and then we're all better off as a society. But instead, they just look at it as a short-term cost. And the thing that really kills me about this is there is no limit to the amount of money these people will spend on a road. There is literally no limit to the amount of money they will spend on a road, as if some tarmac somehow magically creates economic growth, but investing in people doesn't. And if the member opposite knew or understood anything at all about economics, he'd be able to look at the cost-benefit analysis and see, oh, actually, that road costs more than it benefits us. It does. It costs more than it benefits. That's what the official economic evidence says, and multiple economists have come out and basically slammed the case for the Northland Road in particular, because we already have a road to Northland. The issue is we're not maintaining it and improving it. We're not reducing the amount of fuel that we need to use. But it's disgusting to me. There's always jobs for the boys and jobs for the machines and billions of dollars for a bit of tarmac. But they do not fundamentally understand that the thing that actually supports our society to be able to do things is investing in our people, our children, investing in early childhood education and teachers. But it is a product of an economic system and a way of valuing things that does not understand that people are an asset that we can invest in. We invest in concrete and tarmac as if we could sell it on the open market, which is not true, by the way. We cannot sell those things for money. But we don't look at investing in people and their work and making sure their livelihoods enable them to pay for rent, pay the bills, pay the electricity. Actually, go out and talk to some aged care and support workers. I challenge every member of this government to go out with the aged care and support workers like Christine Bartlett, see what their day is like, and tell me that they are not worth more than what they are paid. Go to the retirement villages and talk to the people who are working and tell me they don't deserve to earn more money.
Mr. Bates, I see you're on the speaking list later on. That might be a good time.
This decision, which is being rushed through in urgency with no opportunity for a select committee process and for people to show up and actually debate the issue and understand the proposed changes, is being pushed through because the government is trying to find short-term cost savings because they have promised more than they can actually deliver. But the fundamental trade-off they're making is going to hurt the lowest paid women and all those working in female-dominated industries. It's going to make it harder for them to make ends meet. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's going to make it harder for us. And when I say us, like through our public services, we need nurses, midwives, teachers, care and support workers, disabled care workers, admin and clerical support. We need all of those people. We need them to function as a society. And it's harder and harder to recruit them because they don't have a pathway to fair pay. And all of this is because of historic gender-based discrimination, which ministers in this government, like Erica Stanford and Nicola Willis, at the time when the bill was passed, professed a great passion for and support for the idea that we should actually rectify that historic gender-based discrimination. They did support it. But now in government, too hard, let's just make it easier to underpay people and ignore the fact that that's going to create more problems for us down the road. The Green Party is not supporting this bill. We don't support it going through under urgency, and I would really like to say that I don't, like, people watching this outside, people looking at this should see who these people really are, see who this coalition government really is. They're people who went out and made extravagant promises about being able to deliver better public services while delivering tax cuts to the wealthiest people. And yeah, they gave up to $20 a week to some households. But actually, the lowest paid people don't get the full benefit of the tax cut. The lowest paid people get the least out of the tax cuts. So once again, a series of decisions that make it easier for the wealthiest who already own a lot of property to get richer and richer and richer, while those who are doing the most important work, looking after our tamariki, looking after our disabled people, doing the clerical and admin work, going out there and doing the cleaning, those people, delivering the babies and looking after mamas in the middle of the night, those people are going to be forced to carry on not getting access to an evidence-based process that would result in them being paid what they are due. It's shameful. It's shameful, it's hypocritical. I am not at all surprised because it was clear before the election that those were their priorities, and that the promises they were making about better public services or better pay for nurses and midwives were absolute rubbish. They would never be able to afford to pay for them. But we see when the rubber hits the road, when the really hard decisions have to be made, we see who this coalition government prioritizes and supports, and it is not the hardest working, most marginalized people who are out there are essential workers who deserve fair pay, and they deserve not to be forced to have to be underpaid just because of gender-based discrimination.